Nigerian shows.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
About your movie, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Community, heart, you're doing it.
Observations TFR, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.
Here we are, people. Another great episode of TFR Observations. Hashtag Observations TFR. I done pulled my headsets out. I had to kill one light so I could have the green screen acting correctly. Welcome to... Today is episode 75, and today is Thursday. No, we're Wednesday, right? Are we Wednesday or Thursday? Because these days are blurring right now, right? What is this?
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
That's right, because it's Stock Wednesday. Hurt or help, invest. That's right. Hurt or help, invest. is Stock Wednesday Observation Ep75. Hurt or help invest, with the dreams of returning to Africa put into some American black's mind by Thomas Jefferson some 200 years ago. How come there hasn't been a mass exodus movement of the black people from the United States to the continent of Africa? What is the purpose of pulling up roots and moving when white supremacy is there and is masked, but the same as in the United States? What is the purpose of pulling up roots and moving when white supremacy's there and is masked, but is the same as the USA's? What about the ones who believe in the brother, sister syndrome, who think the BBB and the SSS say the mother effing rent in Africa, right? Who thinks that the BBB and the SSS pays the MF'ing rent in Africa, with the reports coming out where African leadership love the friendship, business partnership with the Chinese government? Isn't it better to invest in the commodities the Chinese are extracting from Africa, both on the African exchange and the Shanghai exchange? Isn't it better to help yourself than to be hurt when you find Thomas Jefferson's indoctrination of your forefathers was just that? The phone lines are open, 213-943-3358, 213-943-3358. We want to say what's up to everyone that is listening and watching us on YouTube. They're watching us on the Film Review Live channel. Also, they can go right over to the Spot page on YouTube, and also watch us there. But we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate the people that are on Facebook. And let me get myself together, because when I had to turn that light off, I got discombobulated for a minute, right? So let me introduce you to my co-host, Tanya M. Congress. What's going on with you this morning?
Good afternoon in my part of the world and morning in your part of the world. I'm happy to be here this morning. The sun is shining bright, which always does wonders for my mood. And I have me a bowl of oranges, Valencia oranges, and I got a cup of coffee here, and I'm just ready to go. But concerning this weather thing and the sun shining, I remember I used to work with, when I lived in Boston and was attending Berkeley and working at Tower Records, I worked with this young lady, and one day we went in the back and we're in the stock room, and she's in a fetal position, balled up in a corner in tears. And so I'm like, well, what's going on? And so her sister said, well, both she and I have this condition. She said, it's raining outside today, and we have this sort of depression. And they were being treated and counseled for this depression that you get when the sun is not shining, when it's raining outside. And we made such a joke of that for years. It was hilarious. It's like, oh Lord, Jen is gonna be in the back. It's raining. It's raining outside. Go see if she all right. And that would be a standing joke. But I do say that the weather, the sun, especially us as Black people, we have need of the sun. We have need. Vitamin D is in the sun, and so we need it. And so for me, my nickname in several arenas without people knowing each other is Sunshine. When I was on tour, the sound man used to call me Sunshine. He said, man, you light up a room when you walk in. And my significant other calls me Sunshine. Everybody, male and female, I've been called Sunshine by several people, but that's because of the personality that comes with the person. So when I think of the real sun, and what we draw from the sun. There's an energy that we draw from the sun. So it's something to that. When I say, man, the sun is out today. When I woke up, it was beaming in my face through the blinds. And I just woke up with energy because it had been, apparently the sun came up at about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and it was about 8:46, 9 when I woke up. So it had been beaming on me all that time. So I had been soaking in that energy. That's why I woke up with it. So it's something to that. I just wanted to share that with y'all this morning. But we got a power pack show. D, what's going on with you this morning?
Hey, you know, I've got my pear. I've ate my grapes already. I got the cherries and the pear. Of course, the pear is changing colors because it's green and it's a green screen. But anyway, people, back to Afrika. 213-943-3358. 213-943-3358. You know, we talked slightly about this subject when we did our show way back last year called People Trading on Your Love for Afrika. And we said, hey.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? We said, hey, why aren't you looking into the commodities of Afrika, right? Why aren't you looking into that? And being that this is Stock Wednesdays, and the topic is hurt or help invest, we always say help or hurt, you must invest. Miss Ash is watching us on the tube this morning, watching us from YouTube. We want to shout out to her. Yes. And remember that Spotify has all of our shows. We have one of the most robust Spotify listings on Spotify. So build your playlist off of the spot, hashtag you found the spot. So let's get started. Let's get started with some memes. Smash the share button, smash the like button, tag at least 5 of your friends because we're getting ready to go somewhere. You know how we do with the memes. We warm up and then we have the rubber hit the road. So let's start out with this right here. Now, this one is shocking, but it is really not shocking because remember we talked about the concept of deviance and defiance, right? And those that are considered defiant versus those who are deviants, right? All right. This guy, the Viking guy from the siege last Wednesday, the siege on the Capitol, 213-943-3358. What does the caption read? The caption reads, Jake Jelly will be fed organic shaman diet following judge's order report. So in other words, this dude, he hadn't been eating since he was arrested and placed in jail, right? He hadn't been eating. So when they went there, the marshals knew this, and his public defender told the judge, Deborah Fine, that's her name, Deborah Fine, when you open up the article, Judge Deborah Fine, they told her, Judge Deborah Fine, that he was not eating because he had a special organic diet. Now remember we were talking about just yesterday on Tasty Tuesdays about did they act like this because they did not have an organic diet, and if they had an organic diet they wouldn't be storming the Capitol. And sure enough, it seems right after we did this story, after we did the show yesterday, this meme comes out talking about this guy is a holistic eater. He is an organic eater. He believes himself to be a shaman, and he cannot eat certain things, right? And being that the system sees him as being defiant and not a deviant, the judge ruled that he would be able to have the diet necessary to survive. So now, that makes me rethink what we were talking about yesterday, because maybe the reason why those people could storm the wall was because of their diet. Because not only have they been training, but they've been training on eating one meal a day and eating from what's around them, the ground, organic, right? While we're still eating ham hocks and from the rooter to the tutor, all the heaviest beef. We got to have a brisket. It's got to be a little bloody in the middle. While we're eating all that, they're eating light to get thin for this ultimate battle, the ultimate mini battles in this civil war that they want to start, right? So we're sitting here and we're looking at this and we're like, wow. I'm like, it seems like as soon as we do a story about eating and maybe their diet wasn't right, they come out and say that their diet is right. So
let me say,
is it that people that have a diet that is correct may be in their right mind and be willing to storm something that has not been fair to them? Or is it that they're just insane because they've starved themselves? Which one is it?
Here is the alternative, and this is the thought. Good and evil operating in full power require the same things. Good and evil operating in full capacity require the same things. Now, let me tell you something about witches that I know. Witches shop at Whole Foods. Witches shop at the farmer's market. Witches grow their own gardens and cultivate their own things. They are often bubbly. They're often wide-eyed and bushy-tailed and they're not all walking around looking evil, and they're Wiccans in particular. Do your research. Wiccans are called the white witches or the good witches. As if there's such a thing. But okay, so the Wiccans, they don't operate to perform evil on the earth. They come to bring something to the earth, and they're always positive and they're always bubbly. They're always full capacity. They're always like Glinda, the good witch. They're walking through Whole Foods. You'll see them. Their eyes are wide. They're hi, and they're walking around. They're bubbly. They weigh about $1.25 wet. And they're just moving around, and they're full of joy and bubbly. Why? They take their vitamins. They take their supplements. They eat right. They meditate. And whatever book of philosophies that they subscribe to, they're in that every day. They live by that. They operate by that. They are true to that. All right? So consequently, they can operate at full capacity. So when you have a defiant person like this person right here, he can scale a wall. Why? He exercises every day. He walks every day. He takes his vitamins and his supplements. Whatever books he subscribes to in his thought process, he's in those every day. He speaks that. He lives by that. Consequently, he's operating at full capacity. So it's nothing for him to go on a fast and not eat, because he doesn't eat a whole lot anyway, because he's not given to appetite. He's not given to his flesh. He's given to his spirit. Whether his spirit is wicked or good, he's given to his spirit, the spirit inside. Both wicked and good require the same things. Now, us, on the other hand, we eat, a lot of us eat, not everybody, but those of us who are waking up, we're coming into knowledge of this fact that in order for us to operate as the God man that we are, we have to crucify the flesh with its affections and lusts thereof, and take our vitamins, take our supplements, meditate on the word, pray. Whatever book we subscribe to, we speak that. We live by that. We walk in that in full capacity so that our goodness can manifest in power and strength. They both require the same thing, good or evil. It requires being given to that which is spiritual, which has to do with diet and all of that stuff.
I want to shout out to some people who just came in. Tom Jackson, we see him watching on FB on You Found the Spot, group page. Make sure you subscribe, follow, share where you're at, where you're watching us. Make sure that you tag 5 people. I say 4, but say 5. Tag 5 people in this broadcast because we are going somewhere today. And smash the like button. Say like. Okay. Coming from the infamous DJ Remix, he has a opinion on this. Boy, CNN needs a new camera at the Capitol because that camera got white folks looking like real live zombies on TV. Boy, CNN needs a new camera at the Capitol because that camera got white folks looking like real live zombies on TV. Now, that can be true in looking at it because when there was a show, I forget the name of the show, but the zombies were overrunning the people and they were like, heave, ho, and just like they were at the Capitol. Like, are you ready for that? Do you have at least 500 friends that you know of, American black friends that are ready to go opposite heave ho heave the holes out the door? They're going heave ho because they heave ho. Are you able to hold and heave the holes out the door? I mean, that's what we need to know. Are you ready for that, or are we just talking? Right? Are we just talking? Heave ho. What's up to Stuart Elsie? We see that he's watching this morning on YouTube. On the Facebook. Right? The You Found the Spot group page. Okay, so let's continue. Now, looking at this. This is an interesting meme, and I saw it. I said, well, let me grab this. All right. So let me slide back a little. Let me see if I can slide back and let you see it. Right. Oh God, how can I let you see it? Okay, let me duck. Oh, I don't know. But anyway, you see it well enough.
That's good.
You see that there is basically a plank, right? And it's over a beam, right? And the person on one end of the plank is raising his foot to karate kick like Eddie Murphy's brother karate kicked Rick James in that skit. He's ready to karate kick him in his back off the side of this plank, but the plank is on a steel beam of a building and they're up high, and the caption reads, there is always consequences to your actions. There are always consequences to your actions. There are major consequences going on to people's actions, right? They're talking about charging them with something that can give them 20, 25 years in prison and all that for what they did on the siege. Now, I read this article and I need you to research real quick, Tanya, to see if you see anything else that corroborates that this is happening, because this woman has not usually been, because she is not, though she is on the CBC, the the colored black caucus, right? Right. In Washington, the colored black caucus, right? Even though she's on there, she is not actually American black. Somehow, because we prescribe to De La Soul. Remember, De La Soul had that song where Q-Tip says, "Black is black, mirror, mirror on the wall." Well, you know what? Black in this time is not always black is black in reality, right? Because black is being American black is a more than a mentality. It is a cause of experience that makes you move in a certain direction to be totally liberated from your bondage and to be compensated for what was done to you. Now, the caption reads, "Pay me what you owe me. Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee reintroduces reparations bill." Right? It happened January 8th, 2021. Now, I read the article that this is assigned to. I clicked it and I read it and I was like, So look that up. See if Sheila Jackson Lee reintroduces reparations bill in 2021, right? Now, within the writing, there is a little girl. It's a 1-year-old daughter, the woman says, and she says, "Is the stymie a form of reparations? Is the stymie a form of reparations?" Now, when we were talking about reparations and we were talking about Sheila Jackson Lee when she was talking to the Nigerians, and the Nigerians weren't really taking her seriously because, you know, what she was talking didn't make much sense about sending over help from imperial force which would be the United States, while the Nigerian army was killing up their own people. You remember that, right? The SWAT. Remember that? Now, we talked about that, and in that I said that the Caucasian has enacted and has caused us to have a stymie, meaning to be stopped at what we do. And I was like, well, I wonder how the little girl learned the word stymie. Either someone that she was around had listened to us and we talked about stymie, or she was around the person listening at the time and heard us talk about the stymie and how they try to stymie you and make you think that you don't know what you're saying or what you're doing, and that if you just wait, they find a way to make you feel that you should wait. The stymie. So in the article, "Is the stymie a form of reparations?" my 1-year-old daughter asked me the other day. And then the article goes on. So, is this true indeed? Do you see 4 or 5 entries on Google about Sheila Jackson Lee reintroducing the reparations bill, HR 40?
Actually, there he is on Black Enterprise Online. It shows, and this article was dated January 7th, 2021. Congress, without reading all that, it says she wants to create a team to explore reparations options for Black Americans back in 2019, and in the fall of 2020 with Rep. Barbara Lee. This week, the Texas representative reintroduced the legislation to Congress as the new Biden-Harris administration transitions into the White House. Jackson's HR 40 bill will allow and fund a formal commission to study and develop reparations proposals for the African American Act. While the bill has received support from House Democrats, many Republicans, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, from Kentucky have shown strong opposition to the legislation. Jackson's move comes at a time when the Senate narrowly obtained victory in Georgia. Georgia yesterday in the Senate runoffs elections, paving the way for Democratic majority in the Senate. One of the winners was Reverend Raphael Warnock, the senior pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, who will soon become the first black senator from Georgia. Then it goes on. In short, the commission aims to study the impact of slavery and continuing discrimination against African Americans, resulting directly and indirectly from slavery to segregation to the desegregation process and the present day, in this present day. See, my thing is, we don't need no study of what's obvious. Now, how much money is going to go towards the study? I mean, come on. Why are we studying? It wouldn't even be an issue if it didn't exist. So why do we have to study it?
How long do we have to study? I mean, like we've been studying this for a while. You know, it was a study to even get to HR 40, and now we want to study more. We want to study more, and they want to kick it down the line, and then she'll be old and gray, and they'll still be studying. Stuart Elsie said that looks more like a crane kick from Karate Kid. That's right. They're trying to crane kick HR 40 down the road. Now, smash the share button, smash the like button. Let's tag people in this, let people know that we are on. Look.
You know that kick.
The people in the CBC is just as much against the reparations as is Mitch McConnell. Just as much against it as Mitch McConnell. What you gotta say?
That go back to that crane kick meme real quick. I want to show y'all something. Now, look at how the plank is balanced on the frame there. If he kicks that and already, see, you got to look at things, look at it. It's already out of balance because he's got 1 foot, assuming that they were the same weight. They look about the same size and height. But assuming they were the same weight, the minute he lifted his leg up off the ground, he already shifted balance. So in his effort to kick that person off, he going down too. Because soon as he kicks that person off, the beam has now shifted all the weight on him and he goes down in the opposite direction. And he's going to land shortly after, right behind the other person in about the same place.
Same place. That's why there is consequences to your actions. Now, so Sheila Jackson Lee is subscribing to go back and study for another 50 years, which would be another 50 years down the line. Now, remember, it only took the Jewish people 95 years to get Jerusalem between World War I and World War II. We talked about that on one of our shows. And now we are at 402 years, and we have yet to get reparations. There's people who are talking about we need to run back to Africa. But you see, there's a connection going on, and we're getting ready to talk about that in the stocks when we get to the stocks, right? But we're warming it up. So now, an article came out, and I was sitting there and I was reading this article, right? And I didn't flip my page, and okay, here we go. This guy right here is Representative Burgess Owens. Now, you may know him from his football career. I didn't know him from his football career, but I first came to consciousness of him in 2019 when he was sitting on the HR 40 meeting that they had on June 19th in 2019. First candidate. He sat there and said that black people do not need reparations. Right? So he's one of those. He said you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And I would ask him, I said, you did well, you played football, I know that you have aches and pains from that. I understand that. That's cool that you think that you have made it, but if you're not able to buy a small island in the Caribbean Sea like Virgin Records do, right? If you're not able to buy a small island like that, you're not really doing anything. You're not really rich. Now, this guy back here is Representative Byron Donalds. Now, what I want to know about, I know about Burgess Owens, but I want to know about Byron, B-Y-R-O-N, Donalds, Tanya. I need to know, is he American black or is he something else? Now, the reason why I bring this particular meme up, let's see what Tracy Law said. Here we go again. They have been studying reparations for years. We are hip to their commissions. Hamster wheel. Exactly. Okay. Keep the faith, my brother and sister. Any decade now or century, we will get our reparations. Let me read that again. Keep the faith, my brother and sister. Any decade now or century, we will get our reparations. That's from Stuart Elsie. Boy, I tell you, keep the faith. We've been keeping the faith for 402 years. So this will be 452 years, 502 years. We're not going to be here. But anyway, look, let's continue. Have you figured that out yet, people? Have you figured out your expiration date? Do you realize that if you're a Generation X and you're headed towards 50, that you have more time behind you than you have in front of you? Or should I say more productive time? Because sometimes people live to be, depending on their diet and how they exercise stuff, they live to be hundreds of years old, but they are miserable actually, but they're holding on. They're holding on. They're holding on. So, okay, so I bring this meme up because this came from the griot. Now, anyone who knows the griot is not written by American blacks. They are written by black immigrants to this country, right? And remember, we talked about black immigrants to this country because they have a way of saying, we have a way, if they want to take away our vote to vote for our president. That is black immigrants talking, but because they look like you believe that they are you, and that's not how exactly American blacks talk, because we speak lesser of two evils, and we got tired of lesser of two evils, so we just didn't vote for either one of them bitches. I said I was going to be nice. Now that was Gen X talking, Generation X talking there. Okay, whatever. So, article excerpt from the griot. Are you ready? 2 newly elected black Republican congressmen signed up in support of the attempted Trump coup and overturned the 2020 presidential election. Now it is time for them to resign. Now, when you read that first paragraph, it makes you believe that they were there. That they were there on the Capitol grounds and they were sieging with the majority Caucasian, trained, eating their wheatgrass and eating healthy and eating one meal a day to be able to scale those walls, right? That's what it makes you think, right? Let me read the second paragraph. These men joined a conspiracy to delegitimized the votes of black Americans and desecrated the blood of our ancestors. And their act of sedition resulted in the white supremacist siege on the Capitol. Now listen to this now. These are people who are not American black writing. They are committing invasion of the black body snatchers. An American black, or they're saying black American, but to be an American black, your people have to have been here, have toiled in this, been here, not come over since the 1965 Immigration Act, right? Where they let only on a certain type, they let over only a certain type of immigrant over that would be more willing to want to live around whites than to live around their black counterparts, right? Which are the American blacks. That's me, my sister, a lot of you that are out there watching now. These men joined a conspiracy to delegitimize the votes of black Americans and desecrated the blood of our ancestors. Now, American black people do not talk about that. They don't talk like that, for one thing. Now, there are people who don't, there's some of us who don't know the history to the extent that we should know the history. So we read this in the griot and think that they are talking for us, thus they are speaking our language, but this is not so. Because we realize as American blacks that neither party is good for you, so it's best to have people on both sides of it, of a party, right? Not in the scrum in the streets between the anarchists and the accelerationists and the order of the state. Not that. We're talking about in the halls of Congress, in the Senate and the House. It is best to have people on both sides because these very two men will come up with an idea that will revolutionize movement forward for American black people, and the CBC, the Colored Black Caucus, will knock them down, just like when Tim Scott, a Republican senator, came up with the anti-choke bill. They were willing to give as many amendments as the Democrats wanted, and the Senate Democrats, including Cory Booker and including your VP, your homegirl, Kamala, I'm going to be nice, Harris, turned their back on it in the 24th hour. As the voting went down, they turned on it, and then they said, well, wait until Biden gets in office. So now, these dudes are on here, so why is it that these black men have to suffer so much? They were part of a conspiracy, and they wanted to delegitimize black people's votes. They didn't want to delegitimize black people's votes. They wanted to say that this election was fixed, which it was, okay? Which it was. I mean, you can cut it up a whole bunch of ways, as many ways as you want, put it back together. Whoever has the largest percentage going into the election night is the one that is called the winner. Trump was at 74%, 84%, 94%. They stopped it, and then they went into the middle of the night and brought some more things in. Now, if that's true or not, once it gets to that level, they call it, and then there's a lot of votes left on the floor. That's how elections are. Whoever gets to, it's first come, first serve. Whoever gets to the largest number, he was whipping ass, right? And so all of this comes from a cheat, but all of this has been building. We talked about that from the show yesterday. So this is not just Trump supporters. This is groups of people who are tired of the people in the American government serving their best interests and not the constituency's best interests. American blacks' interests have not been met. And I remember there was a book that came out, well, I wasn't there, but between 1937 and 1939, they had done a commission on groups in America that could possibly be turned to become enemy combatants against the United States, and American blacks were put in that category. And in actuality, what they were writing about was actually writing about Caucasians and not American blacks. So here you have these two men that have won in the House, and I wonder if they're going to allow them into the colored black caucus, the colored people's caucus, or if they're going to keep them out. That's the question, because they are American black, right? Well, first I have to know about the Donalds dude, because the name Donalds, you have a plural S, usually it's Donald. So tell me, is he an American black, Tanya?
He is. He was born. He is an American politician and businessman serving as a U.S. representative of Florida's 19th congressional district since 2021, a member of the Republican Party. His district includes parts of Lee County and Collier County. He was born and raised in Brooklyn. So, Crown Heights neighborhood in the borough of Brooklyn, New York. One of three children, he was raised by a single mother. In '96, Donalds graduated from Nazareth Regional High School in East Flatbush. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Finance and Marketing from Florida State University in 2002. So he had been a finance guy in his career up until this point, and then afterwards, Donald became politically involved and participated in the Tea Party movement. He was encouraged to run for office. So in 2012, Donalds was candidate for U.S. House of Representatives in Florida's 19th congressional district. He finished in fifth place out of 6 candidates. In 2014, he was reported as the most likely candidate to run again. And following the resignation of Trey Radel, he later decided against running. But he was elected in 2016.
So he's in Flatbush. That still might not mean, but it matters now. Let's keep moving. Now, we are becoming, as American blacks, we are becoming more astute about politics, right? When we learn the history, once we learn the history, we realize that the Dixiecrats were against all the advancement. The Republican Party, which Martin Luther King was a Republican, black people did not switch over to the Republican Party, over to the Democrat Party until after Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, Fair Housing Act 1968. The bigots that were in the Dixiecrat Party moved over to the Republicans and said that the South, that the Democrats would never take the South again. And lo and behold, the Democrats in 2021, thanks to Stacey Abrams, have taken the South again. But within the Dixiecrats, or what you call, Democrats, are blue dog Democrats that are conservative, like Joe Manchin, who believe in things that are conservative. So you have both sides playing the middle. And who's in the middle? Who should be sitting it out? Should be us. So let's move forward. Now, this caption reads, you see the girl there, and she's got her hand and she's pointing, and she says, "I want black vampires, black girls who stumble upon an ancient relic and are granted magical powers. I want black spies. I want black characters with diverse storylines. God damn it. This is what I want. Black I want black, blackity, black, 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 black storylines, black, black. I want that. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. And then this next meme says, damn. Even Cicely Tyson is 96 years old and can see the obvious when others are blind to it. Now, when we talk about immigrant blacks coming into the United States, there are many people who want to be actors, right? Who have studied, right? And they are American black. Now, let's read on. New York Times. You've been in the You've been in the entertainment business for more than 60 years. What's the biggest change you've seen? Cicely Tyson response. There has been an attempt at being more lenient to blacks. Let me correct that a little. They are hiring blacks, but they are hiring black actors from Africa. This is Cicely Tyson now. This is Cicely Tyson. Mama Tyson, 96 years of age. There has been an attempt at being more lenient to blacks. Let me correct that a little. They are hiring blacks, but they are hiring black actors from Africa. And the question has been, what's the difference? He's black, but he's black African as opposed to American black. They're taking away our jobs. This is Cicely Tyson talking. See, this is a concerted effort. This is happening in every field, every career. This is happening. When you watch Gossip or you watch World Star was started by a non-American black. Gossip is run by non-American black. Griot is run by non-American black. And they write stories that are negative. Like the Griot story about the two black congressmen. I'm not shocked because they write against American black men all the time. You go on there, they talk about how black men and shit. Well, let's talk about, I watch enough Nollywood movies to know how Nigerian men are towards their women. They haven't had enough of a harem as if they are Abraham. Okay, they haven't had enough women in their harem as if they are Abraham. Okay, except for they don't have the monetary stature to have a harem, concubine, have a wife, go get the handmaiden Hagar to have a baby, Ishmael, and then they later have Isaac. They don't have that. And I need to ask the people who want to go over to Africa in the middle of this, when you're leaving, 213-943-3358. 213-943-3358. When you're leaving, haven't you realized yet? Have you realized? Read the question, because the question is slightly different than what the main topic is, Tanya. Read the question on the You Found the Spot group page. There's a question and then there's the topic. I want you to read the question that was written for this, right? This is very important. I need to know from those who are under the Thomas Jefferson beguile from nearly 200 years, when are you leaving to go to Africa? Or have you realized that the Africans say they don't pay no rent? Brother, sister, don't pay no rent. Read the question for me real quick.
How long are those who dream of returning to Africa going to keep dreaming? When are you leaving? When the Chinese/African citizen friend to Africans taking up space, where's yours? The phone lines are open. And I'd like to give you an observation. You know me, I'm investigative. So, concerning that state representative, one thing I found interesting on Wikipedia, like when you first look up, you first Google a name, you get like a Wikipedia synopsis to the right hand side, and it will tell you who the parents are, one or both parents, or whatnot. So when we get into the story, usually in Wikipedia, when it says who this person is, and then it get into their early life, it will say parents of or a child of, a son of, and they'll put the person's name, the parents. Well, it had the parent's name, which is Meredith Brown. That's his mother. And there's very little said about Meredith Brown. Usually it goes on to say who was whatever her career was, a school teacher or whatever. But here in the synopsis, it doesn't say any of that. It says, it goes right into, so that piqued my interest that it didn't say anything about her and her career choice or anything like that. So it made me go deeper into it, because now it seemed like something is being left out of the story. It talks about where he was born, and it talks about that, but it doesn't say anything about her. It says 3 children raised by a single mother. At that point, it didn't even say her name. It said Brooklyn, New York, one of 3 children. He was raised by a single mother. In 96, Donald graduated from Nazareth Regional. So there's something deliberately being left out of the story. And as we're talking about non-American blacks being given opportunities here, you have to understand that before the opportunities was given, they were immigrants. It didn't really have the opportunity, but because this was called the land of opportunity, they came here. So given that there is nothing on her, it does go into his story about how she put money aside and she worked and did this, but it doesn't say what she does. It never said what she did. So she more than likely was in a subservient position that that served and made little income, and she had to make the sacrifices with her income for him to to excel and became what he became. Nice story, but y'all left out a lot, and you left out a lot, so much so that it's noticeable in comparison with other people that you would look up on Google and Wikipedia. So I'm looking at her, and you have to go on and look at it yourself, but I'm looking at her. She has that look. She's got that I'm from another country look. And if you look at him, he looks like my father was from another country look. He has that look. So, and then to top it all off, he marries outside of his race and has all of his children. So there's a dislike for where you came from. But there you go.
So in other words, he is first generation immigrant, American born immigrant. It makes him an American citizen. So he hasn't experienced, that's what I thought, because that's what I said when you said Flatbush area. And mostly, anyway, we're not going to get into that. But when you said Flatbush, it said, that could mean or could not mean.
Right.
Like he researching. Okay, so Cicely Tyson, they're taking away our jobs. New York Times, next question. Are there examples you're thinking of, Cicely Tyson? If you take a look at the scene and the black actors whose careers have come to fruition in the last few years, you will see that most of the black male actors have been from Africa. Black males here have been quite upset about it. Do you follow? Cicely Tyson from NY Times article, January 10th, 2021. Cicely Tyson is sounding the alarm. You see what I'm saying? Cicely Tyson is sounding the alarm. Now, to be totally frank, Cicely Tyson is not American black either, but she came in during a time when the immigrants were about the upliftment of black, when black was black, but black is not black anymore. Right? Now, but she's not from Africa, so there's a distinction. The people from the Caribbean say, hey, you know, we're from the Caribbean, we know we got that African thing going on over there, but we're from the Caribbean. We're from Jamaica, we're from Trinidad, Tobago, you know, we're over there. You know, we're Indians, you know, we're not quite. Why are they clipping me? Why are they clipping me with this? I don't understand that. Okay. So Cicely Tyson is speaking up for the American black man like she has been doing in film, except for when she spoke out against Superfly, which because, you know, Sounder was out and Sounder didn't pop any popcorn at the theater. But Superfly was... But anyway, we've talked about that. Let's keep moving. Okay. This is an example of an American black's nightmarish nightmare. This comes from Jerome Brown. He's a well-established MC in Cleveland, Ohio, and it reads, was sleeping good, but had a nightmare. Police were looking for me, so I had to wake up and get out of there. And now I'm here. Who's up? Was sleeping good, but had a nightmare. Police were looking for me, so I had to wake up and get out of that dream, that fucking nightmare, and now I'm here. Who's up? You see, the police come into your dreams, right? And you know, is this like Freddy Krueger? You know how Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street, when they got you there, he got you in real life. You know, so you got to wake up and get out of there. Smash the share button, smash the like button, because we are getting ready to go somewhere with these stocks and these commodities. We're just warming up the field. Okay, here we go. This one comes from Aaron J. Stone. DJ AJ Scratch, another Cleveland, Ohio great, right, on the ones and twos. P.S. Sorry, not sorry. Now you see the sperm cell. Now that is a sperm cell. If you have never seen a sperm cell, it's like 1 million of those, and they're swimming with their head and their tail, and they're headed towards the egg. And you know, ladies, are you ready for this? Tanya, are you ready for this? Because I know that you're big at this. Are you ready for this now? Ladies, if you don't know how to do makeup, I strongly suggest that you stop drawing your eyebrows on. There was a lady that came to my desk today, and it looked like she had 2 sperm going across her forehead. Yes, that's how they were drawn. And no, don't be mad at me. Hashtag in capital letters, do better. Do better. Remember the young lady who was supposed to look like Halle Berry on the show yesterday when we showed that? She had that kind of sperm celly type of eyebrows drawn in. You know, like you draw your eyebrows real good, right? But there are some who really don't know what they're doing. What do you have to say to this? You have to take up for the ladies. This is a distraction, as you know, because there's always distraction on the internet. I thought this was funny. It was comical. I said we take a break before we get to the harshness of it all.
I think that that's funny, and why it's funny is one time I ordered, because I wanted to, you know me, I've told you before, sometimes I have a challenge drawing in these eyebrows. Well, why do you draw in your eyebrows, Tanya? Well, it's because like my father and I were alike. We were not very hairy people. So I basically almost don't have any eyebrows. I barely have any there, so I have to draw them in. And my father was the same way. Of course, he didn't draw in his eyebrows, so don't be smart. All right. So so I have to draw them in, and sometimes I have a challenge with it. It look like my face is crooked or something, and so I be thinking they looking one way, and one is like up higher than the other one. And it's not till I go back and look at the post broadcast, and then and D tells me, "Well, your eyebrows are fine. I don't see nothing wrong with your eyebrows." Well, he's a guy that's behind the camera a lot, so I can trust that. Even though to me, I'm still unsettled with it. So what I did was I bought these templates. And you can put these templates up here and then just draw into the template. Still, you got to place the template in the right place. If you're off, you're still gonna be off. But anyway, some of those templates look just like that. So if the woman was using a template, that could have been how her eyebrows got that way, because they were even. They just look crazy.
Oh, a few years ago, they had this style that they were doing with the females' eyebrows that were drawing them in, and it looked like fur. And I was like, look at the size of those eyebrows. And they were drawn in with templates, and I'm like, what is the size of these fucking eyebrows? Like, I mean, like they look like something from out of an animal. Like, I didn't know. Okay, anyway, so let's continue. Here's another one, a distraction. Now, bruh, what happened to Barney? Now, when I was in Cleveland, there was a certain organization that had a Barney for the person to get into for the little kids' parties. And I always used to ask, do the kids realize that this Barney doesn't look like the Barney on TV? Like the Barney that they would have at the parties would look like crackhead Barney. Meth head today, meth head Barney, and the Barney was, full and purple, and his eyes were fully. That's like, I got a cousin that can do that. That's just like that meme we had a couple of weeks back. I got a cousin that can do that. And when you look at it, you say, no, man, that don't look like Barney the dinosaur. I love you, you love me. It looks like a crackhead. Okay, so let's move on. With the way things are going, right? With the way things are going, Trump's so-called good, quote-unquote, good people are going to come for us, right? Those people you thought were your friends will stop pretending. Unity will be necessary in order to live. Be safe and watch your back. Michael Campbell from BOP, Black on Purpose Television. That's his prescription about what we see happening, that people will show their true colors. If you see, here's a question for people out there on all aspects that are watching us on our simulcast from Periscope to Vimeo to FB to YouTube. If you saw your Caucasian friend there sieging at the Capitol, right? Would you still remain friends with that person? That's the question. Would you still remain friends with that person because they've always been cool with you? Hey, you've been cool with me, I've been cool with you. Would you stay cool with them, or would you drop them off because you finally saw their true colors shining through? That's what we want to know. We want to know how deep of a friendship you would actually have with a.
Not at all.
Right. That would be not at all. Now, this one comes from Treasure posted this. He is a entertainer out here in Las Vegas. Direct from the archives. A prediction 97 years ago. As democracy is perfected, the office of the president represents more and more closely the inner soul of the people. On some great and glorious day, the plain folks of the land will reach their heart's desire at last, and the White House will be occupied by a downright fool and a complete narcissistic moron. Let that sit for a minute. That was a prediction 97 years ago, and hey,
But that's not who people would think it is, though.
That is exactly right, and so they have pumped him up to be that, but not necessarily true. You have to be fair and balanced. 213-943-3350. I'm still trying to figure out, when are the people who say that they're going back to Africa, when are you leaving? I mean, I just need to know, when are you leaving and what are you expecting to see? Brother, sister, you give me your money. I like the dude that tried to friend me from Ghana said, I'm going to show you how to make money. That's what's on his website, because I didn't ever talk to him, but I'm going to show you how to make money. I said, Ghana dude, I say, look, man, buy Nigeria from the Chinese, and then I know you got money. Okay. Next meme. I hazard to say the only cure to racism is mixed marriages. By definition, what is the chance of a mixed couple producing a racist child? Listen, man, for those who have not crossed that plane yet of being in the multicultural mixed category. Where there is self-hate, there is potential for there to be racism. Racist against your own. Like, there's colorism. Colorism comes from racism, which makes it racism. Right? Let's just cut to the chase. Or when you see people say, hi, it's like, yo, what's going on? Okay, that's an inside joke there, but I'm sure you got to laugh. Anyone who, that's an inside joke there. Okay, here we go. We're getting ready. The rubber is getting ready to hit the road. Smash the share button, smash the like button. Okay, $36.9 billion. Do you know what $36.9 billion represents? It represents the sum that Mexicans working in the U.S. sent back to their families in the first 11 months of 2020, a record high. $36.9 billion. Now, my question is, like, they say that the aliens that are here that are not documented, they pay taxes. Does my head screw on and off, or what is American blacks are by what we spend are 15th are the 15th largest nation, something like that, 15th or 20th largest nation, right? 36.9 billion. How do you have the money to pay taxes? You're sending back 36.9 billion to help more people cross the border. Now, if they made 36.9 billion, what type of jobs were those? We would like to know. But the woman, we're getting ready to hit the rubber to the road. Now, here we go. Now, so the woman who posted this wrote under it, and she said this. And I thought I would post her name. I thought it was good. And 11 million are on the way here, so they won't need to spend money. Whomever voted for this mess of new supported incoming president Y'all suck. Laughing with the crying face emoji. This will destroy our community. This will destroy our community. Latrice Ann Cooper wrote this. Now, she's got a number, but she's got the number. Now, we've been going through this in nauseum over our episodes, right? We talked about the 500. It's the 500,000. It's the 500 million refugees a year. It's 500,000 refugees.
500,000.
Yeah, 500,000 refugees a year. The 11 million dreamers and 500 Indians from India that are coming in to get jobs. Now, what does this meme say? Let me move this down a little bit and bring this back. $36.9 billion went back to their home. That is money that should be in the pocket of American blacks, actually, truthfully, and them coming in and getting the set-asides that we were supposed to be set aside because Martin Luther King got his throat shot out for it. And once they signed the Immigration Act in 1965, then all of a sudden they changed it to no longer Negro or color, but minority. And then all of a sudden all the different minorities is all a way to cripple American black people. 36.9 billion will go a long way to starting reparations. Because those are people who are paying out wages to people. All of this that is happening, how they can give stimulus, all of that, you have to start looking at it like that is our money. Them going to the Capitol and destroying the people's house. What people's house is it? It is American black people's house. They're walking in there, stepping in there. They had nothing to do to build it. Wouldn't know how to build it, but they knew how to scale it because they had been practicing. Right? The people who are non-patriotic, who are the least patriotic, are the Caucasians who think that they are segregationists, Nazis. We'll go back to Germany. Go back to Germany. You're secessionists. Well, the South lost, so we don't know where you're going, but, just go back to find out. They're clipping me over that. They're clipping me over telling the people to go back to where they come from. Wow. Okay. Let's hit the rubber to the road. To all those people who are talking about Africa, and we got to get back to Africa. I still keep on saying 213-943-3358. When are you leaving? When are you leaving so that we can be more clear about the American blacks who are not dual-minded, right? That are not schizophrenic in their mind. I'm African. You are? Can you sing me one of their songs? Way, 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 Or maybe, wait. Maybe you're more like the Africans that were abandoned after Paul Simon did Paul Simon at Graceland Land. Or maybe you're one of those Nigerian types. Come on over here. I will tell you how to make money. Come here. I need as many bitches. Bitches, look at the bitches. What is this? What is this? What is this? Or maybe you're from Senegal, and my wife and I were watching a fashion show that BET had back out in the 90s, and we were sitting up there, we already knew that they had sent over the strongest and the brightest, and left the weakest over there. So we were sitting there watching a fashion show from Senegal, and they're playing drums as the women are walking out, and the drums are all disjointed. Are just all on top of each other. Like, what is this? No rhythm. I'm doing more rhythm than men. Like, why don't you just go? But no, they were like, it was all over the place. Just, I'm like, what African? When are you leaving? When are you leaving? Well. Wait a minute. Oh, I got something coming on. Wait a minute. Dale. Daylight come and I wanna go home. Day is a day. Shout out to Harry Belafonte. Daylight come and I wanna go home. Come, Mr. Tallyman. But that's not African. That's Caribbean. Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana.
Daylight come and I wanna go home.
That is the day. Oh, daylight come and I wanna go home. Come, Mr. Tallyman, Black Tarantula. Anyway, that was one of my favorite songs. It was the Calypso. It was down in the basement. I cleaned off the vinyl with some alcohol. Oh, y'all wouldn't know about that. And slide it into the slider, but I used to play that. Calypso was big. And Harry Belafonte, who financed the civil rights movement. Shout out to others who financed the civil rights movement with their money that they made doing their thing, right? So shout out to Harry Belafonte. So that's different. So that took a break. That's an immigrant. That's an immigrant.
Sidebar.
But this is an immigrant before 1965. Yeah. Is the and then there was the flip over the flip side and it's star oh, and then when you listen to that groove, they was funking it up. The dude go after the show, go to YouTube and type in, get a good version of Starro and Dayo and listen to it and listen to how they funking it up in the back and how Harry Belafonte kicking it. Yeah, what you gotta say?
That's funny. That's what I was gonna bring up, the Starro. You flipped it over and did the Starro, but I was gonna say that might be that's something I might want to investigate because that might be a Caribbean thing. Because remember when telephone tracks came out and you had Telephone Love and the whole album was doon 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 doon. So you had Telephone Love, you sound so sweet on the line.
Girl, you're so beautiful. Bumba glag. Oh, come on down and come and play Shacks. Come on and play Shacks. Now that's Jamaican. Now we're mixing metaphors here. Let's stay on top. But yeah, this is called rhythms. RIDDIM.
I am. Yes.
Right, rhythms. Right, and then they had there was telephone tracks, and then there was murder. Doom doom doom, 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 doom. Murder, she wrote. Murder,
And I
she
just want to let me say
wrote.
this.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me say this for our diverse listening audience. That is not making fun of anything. I am a musician, in case you didn't know, and so is D of another kind, a musician of another kind. So I just was saying that because it came to mind. Wow, that's two different. Harry Belafonte was like back in the 50s. And then I think the telephone tracks thing that I brought up came up in the 80s. And it was a whole album with the same backdrop, the same groove, but it was something different about the vocals. It's a heavy, 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 heavy load we carry down here. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Telephone. Dun 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 dun. Heavy, 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 heavy load we carry down here. So I'm just going to investigate that as a culture.
Blow the horn. Okay, yeah, that's right. So that's a little tribute to our Jamaican brothers out there, Jamaican brothers and sisters out there. Wine, 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 nigga in bed. Wine, wine, wine. Oh, one of the greatest. I used to rock the parties with this. I DJ parties. I just had to say this. This got me on this before we get on taking the rubber to the road. We take a little detour for a minute, but it still stays on point. House Call. Shabba Ranks Maxi Priest, right? The remix, the world remix. So it'd be something else playing. Let's say it was let's say it's Paul Revere. And we used to like to roll slow, like slow movement, slow and low is the tempo, right? So that's how we go. I say, y'all ready on the mic? I go. Bam, 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 bam. Maxi Priest comes in. Bam, bam, shabba, shabba, shabba. Right? Cold. Classic. Just remembering. I had to peek out a little bit on that myself. But anyway, let's move forward now. We went down memory lane. I showed you how I used to rock parties with that. You know that would rock, right? You know that would rock. I gave it to you in the rhythm and the time, but I'm still trying to ask people, when are you leaving? 213-943-3358. Do not wait until the last 5 minutes of the show. Call up. We need to know when you're leaving and going to Africa, because this right here is happening. And they're even taking our elbow bump for sanitary reasons. American blacks come up with the elbow bump. Somehow it's over in Africa, and the African man is doing it with the Asian man who is actually an agent of the People's Republic of China. Now,
Look at his eyebrows.
look at his eyebrows. Now look, it says China's friendship and economic partnership with Africa in 2021. Let me shrink this down so that you can see it. It says they're friends. They're friends. China's friendship and economic partnership with Africa 2021. Now, how come all of the Africans, the different African countries, friends, have something in common? They all have money. Now, my question to you, to the people who we always ask this, say, when are you going back? Have you discovered yet that we talked about this when we talked about the prostitution problem happening in certain countries in Africa, like Senegal. It's legalized in Senegal. And we said, do you think that you could go into Senegal and say, sister, come on and learn this information. Here, buy my book. And she'll say, first of all, why am I buying your book? You are an American black. We say that America is the land of milk and honey. You should be rich coming over here already. You shouldn't be having to try to sell me something, try to sell my culture back to me. One, two, how come the Caucasian man can come over here and pay me in one night to degrade myself? In one night he can pay me what my father works for a whole week, maybe sometimes a whole 2 weeks to get. He could pay me in one night. Do you think which discussion is really gonna go over well? The person about brother, sister, or the one that can come over and drop money? So you see, how come you don't have stock in the Shanghai? How come you don't have stock in commodities? Right? We talked about that. This is very important. You have to you have to go back to our previous show. Our show last week. Has it been a week already? But last week we talked about the Shanghai Exchange, the commodities. Back in the show called People Trading on Your African Love. You can go look it up. It's on Spotify. You just scroll down to Spotify. The Spotify link is in the You Found the Spot group page on FB. You can scroll down the Spotify and find it and listen to it. And we tell you how to go about, and we show you the various commodities that you can be trading and getting into. Hurt or help, you should invest. Everyone else is investing while we're living in a la-la world. Everyone is working out, getting in shape, eating their wheatgrass, scaling sides of mountains, while we're pretending and acting like, brother is gonna get it. It's not gonna get it. Not gonna get it. You know, say those old civilizations died a long time ago. We're a new 21st century African that has opened up our ports to the Chinese, the new Chinese-Afrikan citizens that will have more play over there than you. Now, here's the stock that we told you about a while ago. We talked about Blackstone on that same show, on the People Trading on Your Love for Africa show. We talked about this, right? We talked about Blackstone, and Blackstone dealt in special commodities that most companies don't, and yet you should get stock in Blackstone. Blackstone to buy Disney Singapore building for $132 million. In Singapore money, that's $175 million. Now, this was Lucas Films. Did you know that Lucas built a whole facility before he sold everything? He sold the whole franchise to Disney. So that's why you get the Mandarin or whatever his name is. The Mandalorian, you get that on Disney Plus now because he sold his building. But he built this building. It looks like one of the spaceships from out of Star Wars, right? He built it. This was Lucasfilm's Singapore facility at one time. Now it's owned by Disney. I'm sure it has Lucasfilm still on it. That's probably what it is. But Blackstone has bought the facility for $132 million. So that means that what's happening out of there, they're going to be making big money in the film business. Did we tell you not to get stock? We told you to get stock in Blackstone. We told you to get stock in the commodities in Africa, and we told you to get stock in the China stock market, Shanghai exchange. Because if it harms or helps you, if you get McDonald's, you eat McDonald's. Some people eat it sparingly. Other people eat it every day. Clogged arteries. If it harms or hurts you, it should be in your portfolio. Because while you're dying from it, you can also be profiting from it, not just be spending money on it. You see how that works? That's how life works. If you're, aware and enlightened, right? So look, we've got a lot of crying and laughing faces because they were entertained on this episode. Miss Ash said they still do. Miss Ash also said no, nope, that is a no, right? So what do you got to say, Tanya? What do you got to say? You got anybody over there on your side that wrote something that we cannot see?
I can only see Stuart Elzey's comment. I can't see anything else. So I see they're limiting as well. And they're not even the number of people that are viewing is that option is not even up there on the top where it usually is. But that's okay. We will ride with it. But in lines of investing in Africa, it is considered actually the final frontier because you have India and you have China, which all of those, India, China, and Africa, you want to know why? Especially the ladies. You should be looking at the labels of the hair you buy, your weave, and finding out if that's on the stock exchange. Now, you may have to be investigative because some of the stuff is hidden. See, it's hidden as to where. So you got to do more than just look at one page of Google and then move on when you can't find something. You got to go digging. You got to go digging. Same thing with the African stuff. Look at your labels and go and see if these particular things are on the stock exchange. And there's something for everybody. If you don't have a big budget, there's always something you can find to invest in. Even in starting under $20, you can pick a stock. But get stock in as many things as you can and find out what kind of, whether it's an aggressive, a medium risk or low risk investment. Low risk is not gonna cost you much to get in, but it's not gonna have a high yield either. So I tend to stay around the moderate because that's what I can afford right now, moderate. So I usually invest in moderate stock that I can afford to invest in, and it has a better yield. Now with the high risk, it might be high risk, but when it blows up, it blows up. So if you can afford to invest in high risk stocks, you can. But right now, Africa is considered the final frontier. So if you're going to complete a portfolio, which would include certificates of deposits, mutual funds, all kinds of diversities of stocks, land, real estate, all of those is what make up a portfolio. As you're looking to complete it, investment in African stocks and African products is considered the major way to close it out or to complete the circle, so to speak.
African stocks and whatever China is extracting, go over to their stock exchange and invest in that. You can get it from the Africa side, from the China side, you know what I'm saying, from the India side, from the American side, and you will be okay, right? See, this is Stock Wednesday, so we wanted to show you Blackstone. Blackstone, we've told you about that. You should have some stock in Blackstone. We had to come back. We told you months ago. We said, get stock in Blackstone. Now, remember now, this is just through experience. We're not stockbrokers. We're not experts, but we're just looking at what is turning and what is this acquisition here is going to be big. It's going to blow Blackstone up and out the water. Up it's going to go into the stratosphere, because they already collect strange types of commodities, right? They own you. I'm just gonna say they own you. They own you. Okay, they own you. They own your DNA. If you swabbed your mouth with the what's that ancestry.com, you swabbed your mouth in that, they own your DNA. So you should have stock in that, because if they own you, you should have stock in it, because they own you. They own you. They own strange things. It's strange things. You could go research for yourself, but from the Star Wars building to Ancestry.com and everything in between, and they are rising, baby.
And you paid them.
Even when the market dips, they're still rising, baby. What you gotta say?
And you paid them to own you. I believe you paid them $99 and then sent your DNA in. So you're saying, here, have a piece of me, and I'm going to pay for the research too. Here's a piece of me with $99, and you get to research me. I mean, actually, you can't. That hustle is pretty good. That hustle is pretty good. Get the people to pay at least $99. At least $99 and send their blood sample in. And so not only are you getting their blood sample for free, they're paying you to research them. That's pretty good. That's good business. That's good business.
I had this one kid tell me, I was on another show, and he was like, have you ever been over there? Have you been over to Afrika? No. I said, do you know what people you come from? They said, no. I mean, well, okay. But he said, I did take my DNA, and I paid big. I paid $700 some for it, and I got the kind where they come back and tell you, like, every year I have more people that I come from over in Africa. I said, you got more people than where you come from over in Africa. You got more people per year. More people, more groups of people are adding on to where you come from Africa. Just let that shit sit for it. Let that shit.
We are not thinking, people.
Okay, so look, so he had more people each year because he paid the $700 or something, because it goes up, it can't go up. So I'm listening to him like this. I say, so where you from? He from Baltimore. And then I said, wait a minute, you from Baltimore? Let's see. Baltimore, New Orleans, and Philadelphia ports, right? They had breeding farms. And remember, in episode 110 of hashtag TFR Podcast Live, I would suggest that you go to YouTube and watch that one. Don't go to Spotify and listen to it. Go to the YouTube, the Film Review Life channel, and watch episode 110 of hashtag TFR Podcast Live, because we reviewed a film and we broke it down with movie clips. And we talked about the breeding farm. Now, this is stuff that people really don't know. Why you should have stock in splicing and genetics and stem cells. You should have stock in that, right? The breeding farms, they bred a little bit of this. They grabbed the mandingo. They grabbed the this. They grabbed the that. They even threw in a little Asian to get the breast right, so they would sit a certain way. So when the milk, the mammary glands filled, they would be able to breastfeed more babies. So when he was saying that he's coming from more than one group of people, and he was like, each year he gets more and more people, I said, nigga. Well, I said to him, nigga. I said, You come from the breeding farm system. This is very important now. This is very important now to really think about. You come from the breeding farm system. Are you actually human? Because people take the test and they only come up with one or two people. Maybe they're, because you can't, you got to go, you can't go, if you're a woman, you can't go through, you can't get your father's line. You're going to get the woman line. Right? The men can get the woman and the male line. If you are coming back every year and you pay this special price and they're dropping more people on you, you are a product of the breeding farm, which meant they grabbed a little bit of this and they grabbed a little bit of that and they stirred it up in the bowl. And when they talk about Yaqub and the Nation of Islam talks about Yaqub, how you know that the Yaqub fable is true about genetically creating the Caucasian is because they did it during slavery to create a functioning individual that could do more work, strong in the body, weak in the mind. I know you've heard that term before. So this is real talk. This is real talk. You can research this about the breeding farms. Philadelphia, New Orleans, and Baltimore. And that might answer the question why sometimes we just can't get along. If you come from a people that have been bred, if you swab your mouth and you only got two people, that meant that you came through the line and your people weren't tinkered with. They weren't diddled. Okay? But if you have multiple people coming through your line, I'm trying to figure out, when are you going back? When are you going back? It's 16 minutes left. I haven't received a phone call from any of the people who want to go back to Africa. Stuart Elsie says, I invested in Tesla about $45 and made over $50 profit so far. I did it through Cash App. That's right, different ways to get it. Different ways to get it, right? Different platforms out there to be able to get into the stock game and for minimal amounts. $45, and he's got $95 already. He's already $5 over his investment on the return. Everything else is gravy. Right? So people, this is real talk. You need to get into the stock because there's a lot to be done. Let's say that reparations never comes in our lifetime. How are you going to get it? You got to invest in the stock market. You got to invest in everything. Those robots from out of Boston, did you see it? We talked about surviving the robots, right, on an episode of #TFR Podcast Live. And we were showing the very robots. There's a dog robot, and then there's a robot that looks like it has a backpack. And just recently, they showed the robot and the robot dogs dancing. They've got their choreo. They've got their balance down to the point where they can dance. They were doing the Running Man. Of course, they had them emulating us because they're going to be the robots that are chasing your children, your grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren. Shouldn't you have stock in what's going to help or hurt you because you might need to have to stand on the corner and do panhandling? But no, you had stock in what was going to help or hurt you so you could take a little bit off and pay for that because they killed your people. Then you will get the payoff. Taxpayers' money, not the police money, not the municipality money, but the taxpayers' money to pay you how many $1 million for them killing your child. Black people, you got to get into this stock situation. You got to get into this. We asked on the show then, and this is true indeed. What does praying to Jesus for a better outcome have to do going against a machine that has no soul, who is programmed with the biases and the assumptions from the people who programmed it, started it, let it go, and probably won't have an off switch for it. Eve of Destruction. Have you seen Eve of Destruction? Gregory Hines said, you didn't have an off switch? And the only way they could get Eve of Destruction was to shoot her through her eye. That's the only way they could stop Eve of Destruction. You started something that you don't have an off switch for. You're going to put it out there on the street. It's going to start mangling little black kids, teenagers, and adults, and going to walk insurgents down the U.S. Capitol step, just like the U.S. Capitol Police did, because black people are seen as deviants, practicing deviance. White people are seen as defiant, practicing defiance. Slap on the wrist, mangle that mug. What will Jesus, praying to Jesus, have to do with a robot coming at you? Like, we all went to the movies, we saw Terminator, but the reality of race was not in that film, except for the doctor who helped put it together, and then he had to sacrifice his life to try to stop Skynet. But it didn't stop it. It kept going. So, we've had some fun today. You know, we had a few laughs. You know, we went down memory lane, and we talked the information, and we gave the information out. Get into the stocks. Download that Cash App, right? Matter of fact, while you're at Cash App, go to $ you found the spot. While you're on your Cash App, go to $ you found the spot and drop a few dollars. YOU found the spot, and drop a few dollars. Let us know that you appreciate what we do. It goes back in to make this programming even better, even better presentation for you to watch and to enjoy, as we do massive research every single day to bring you forth the information that we bring you, right? So, I mean, this is real serious. We go through so much that you have to go back and watch and have a notebook and write down and then go research this stuff. The breeding farms. Go watch episode 110 of #TFR Podcast Live on the Film Review Life channel. It's in the playlist. You go to the playlist and go to #TFR Podcast Live, and then you go down to 110, scroll down to 110, click it, and start watching it. Viewer discretion is advised. If you're not used to seeing the actual reality of what slavery was like, we will say viewer discretion is advised. But for those who want to know about the breeding farms and why some of your friends are coming back with so many, and are they disagreeable to what you want to do, you might say, well, we got a little bit of Igbo and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Throw a little salt and pepper, stir it up in the bowl, pour it in there, put it in the oven, bake it. There it is. What you got to say?
You know, a couple of things concerning that whole ancestry and DNA thing. I looked up something on Consumer Affairs page, and basically Ancestry.com is listed as one of the.
We got some static coming from you. Hit your connection.
Can you hear me?
Or something. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically Ancestry.com is one of the main ones that people are sending stuff to. They have a user review of 1 star. People, there are things about people asking for their money back. People didn't understand that after they paid the $99 in order to continue something that was $19.95 a month. On top of that, in order to get a separate search from maternal or paternal, that was a separate fee. You're not getting it all, and then when you got stuff back, there are periodic updates, and somebody has something dating back 700 years, where would the accuracy of that come from? Really, to be honest, where would the accuracy of that come from? And at this point, who cares? What is it going to do for you to know? I mean, I would like to know something about my predecessors and their accomplishments and achievements in history. I would like to know stuff like that. Like if I had people who were other musicians in my family tree, or artists, or preachers, or things like that. I would like to know things like that. But as far as going all the way back to the original lands, and I don't care. That's not going to do jack for me right now in the land that I was born in and live in. So you know what I could do with Ancestry.com? I will look that up on the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones and see if it's on there and invest in that, since people are spending their money they can't get back. They're fighting to get back, so I may as well make some of it on the stock end. On the other end, the other thing about praying, what does praying to Jesus have to do with these machines and standing against these machines? See, I've been saying this to y'all for a couple of years. And for you Christians out there, don't be upset. Just re-examine yourself. It was never meant, the whole message of Christ and all that was never meant to be a scapegoat or a crutch. It was meant to tell you the part of who you are as your God man, godness. And so when you go pray, basically praying and meditation is synonymous, and you basically communing with yourself. Oh, you mad now? Now you want to say I'm a heretic? Go look that word up, and you'll see that most heresies are existent in this present church is heresy. But to understand that everything is on you now. Everything that Christ did, if you subscribe to the Christian message or the Christian doctrine of the birth, life, death, burial, and resurrection of Christ, all of it leads to it's on you. So if you go and you commune in prayer or whatever, the answer is always going to come back to you performing an action in order for you to get what you need. You have to perform the action. So sitting around praying, if your doctrine has you just praying and waiting and hoping, once you pray, you still in hope. When faith is the substance of things that is hoped for and the evidence or the manifestation of things not seen, but your prayer leads to you just sitting there hoping, oh, I hope I can get through. But you pray in faith. The prayer of faith shall heal the sick. The prayer of faith shall heal the sick. The prayer of faith. Faith is the substance. Faith brings substance. Faith is the title deed to that which is hoped for and brings into fruition or manifestation the things that are not seen, from the spirit realm to the earth realm. This is how you know whether your doctrine is true or not. Are you having manifestations? Are you manifesting? That's the answer to that one.
Are you manifesting? So remember, if it's anything else, remember. I don't know how that's going to help me now. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the Native Americans on the I was say plantations, on the reservations. They're like, how the smoke signals going to help me now? Haven't they deciphered the smoke signals?
Right. It all comes back to you.
So really, it's like you're sitting there watching the old zombie movies and the zombie and everything. The drums, the drums, stop the drums. Ah. Then when they stop, somebody dies, right? This is some hoodoo or something like that, right? Look, reality. we have brought you another robust show of hashtag Observations TFR. We have brought you Stock Wednesdays. Tomorrow is Truth Thursdays as we delve even deeper into the surge into Washington. On Friday is freaking Friday. Gen X speaking, Gen X talking. We appreciate coming to you. Make sure that you go over to Spotify. You can click the link right in the You Found the Spot homepage for the group page. You'll go there, you'll see the Spotify ad. Click it, and you can listen to us right on Spotify. We are one of the most robust podcast situations on Spotify today. We have movie reviews. We have TFR Podcast Live. We have observations. We have comedy breaks. We have Hip Hop Discuss. We have so many shows, and we have more shows coming to the platform, right? You need to go listen to Tanya's latest show called What's the Point? It opened up heavy on the blog talk, and we're going to have 4 bonus episodes of part 2 through 4. It was all the way 5, but part 1 is already up, but part 2 through 5 are going to go up directly on Spotify to hit over on Spotify, and it's Women in the Pulpit, Equally Yoked, part 2 through 5, coming up directly on Spotify. We want to blow this up. The message that she's putting down on there, we want to blow this up. We're going to get some numbers on it, get some real feedback, because she opened up large. Give her applause, people. Give her applause. Listen, so as we close out, take the information. You know, we had a little comic relief. We laughed a little bit because you have to have a little levity in the middle of this. But this is serious business, man. Get your stock game up, right? Get that knowledge of what we talk about under your belt, and you will discover new things and you'll be like, wow, I didn't even know that happened, right? So this has been another great, robust episode of hashtag Observations TFR. I'm Crazy D, and of course, my special guest host, Tanya M. Congress. We have been more than proud to bring this episode to you. We will see you tomorrow. We come on Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Check your listings. We will see you tomorrow.
Here's the thing about your movie, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe. Community, heart, crazy.
Observations TFR, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.